I'ma need safety. Tell her I can't snake me. Tell her it's your world. She want the two-tone spaceship. Blow smoke screen daily, so the stress don't faze me. I'm going.
This over here is the best bang for buck NVMe flash NAS in the world. Why do I need it? Honestly, like, this is a product that no one needs. Okay, let's put it this way. What if you were buying Mac Minis or Mac Studios and you're thinking about upgrading your internal SSD storage? I've got the Mac Studio here, and what Apple charges for the SSD storage is 2.4 grand for 7.5 terabytes. You thinking, wait, this is 8 terabytes. No, you already have 512, $2,400. Now, this guy costs $799. And this is without any disks or NVMe storage inside. But let's take a look at some of the actual storage, what we can get here. This is Team Group MP44 NVMe SSD Gen 4x4, which is very fast. And the 4 terabytes goes for $233.99. Now, if you get 6 of these, you're gonna get 24 terabytes of storage, plus this guy over here. The total price is $2,200. So I've just saved you $200 and got you more than 6 times more storage. But the story doesn't end there. You've got extra 6 slots for free, so you can take this guy up to 96 terabytes of flash SSD storage. So let's take a look what this guy can do. This video has been brought to you by LG and their OLED and QNED TVs. Upgrade your home cinema experience through the links in the description below, or learn more later on in this video. If you're new here, consider subscribing. More content like this is coming out. Tech, creators, PCs, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. If you don't know what this is, you can find the links in the description below, as well as the SSDs that I'm recommending, because very importantly, don't buy any SSD and just put it in there. It's not gonna work like that. I'll explain in a minute. This particular model is the FS6712X. This is the 12 Pro. There is a 6-bay version as well, which is a little bit cheaper, but the 6-bay version only has 2.5 gigabit LAN. So if you want to check that one out, feel free for that. But I feel like for creators, and if you're actually getting this, the 12 Pro is a much better option just because of the upgrade possibilities of NVMe's, as well as the 10 gigabit Ethernet. And unfortunately, it doesn't offer any network interfaces, so you can't upgrade the, NIC, for example. Alrighty, here it is. This here is our power brick, up to 90 watts. We also have one Cat6e cable, or Cat6 actually this is, a little zip tie, and a quick installation guide. Look at that. So this looks like it's at the side. This is USB type A in this side, 10 gigabits in speed. Then we've got the power button on this end. Then on the back of the device, we have a Kensington lock. We have an optical video output. We have 2 USB type A ports that are USB 2.0, 10 gigabit LAN, HDMI port, 10 gigabit USB type A, reset button, and the power cord goes in there. But in order to actually install anything in there, we're gonna have to undo these screws over here. So if you're thinking about picking one of these up, you can just follow this and you'll see how to set it up. Now we push that way, as you can see, open, close, open. This is cool. It connects via USB over there, and then you have a little fan that flies over them. And as you can see, there's one more screw on this side. If you take the screw off from underneath here as well, I believe on this here as well, these are on the back of the device, the whole top slides off as well. Now, what can we see over here? We can see DDR4 slots. There's 4 gigabytes already installed, 3200 SODIMM slot. So you can upgrade it, or both of them upgrade them. So upgrades are possible for the RAM as well. Here we have 6 slots in the back of the SSD. And then we have 6 slots in the front of the SSD. They're all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. The cool thing is these are quick install SSD slots, so you don't actually have to have any screws or anything to get your SSDs installed. Now, interestingly, what I can see is, if I look inside, there is heat sinks for obviously like the chipsets, and probably these are the PCIe switches in here between there, because you don't have as many lanes to just put 12 somewhere. But what ASUSTOR has done here is absolutely fantastic job in terms of SSD cooling and so on, and cut out the PCB as well so that they get a little bit more heat, through. Looks like the CPU is passively cooled, and the chips, everything is passively cooled. there's no fans underneath there to cool the rest of the device. The SSDs I'm using over here are Team Group T-Create Classic SSDs. The way they go in there is like that, and then you just push that one back and voila, that's installed. Oh, there's a little film on top of them. 4, 5, and 6. Now, what about SSD cooling? I'd recommend, if you go in with Gen 4 SSDs, think about cooling as well. You can put little heat sinks on the top there. Now, not every SSD fits in there. For example, let me check out. This is the Team Group Cardia A770 or something like that. So it looks like that's going in there as well. But when you're putting the fan on the top, as you can see, the lid doesn't close anymore because the heatsink is way too big. Now I'm gonna leave some heatsinks in the description below if you wanna put heatsinks on top of your SSDs, because ASUSTOR sells some of the heatsink kits for these as well. So check them out in the description below. Now, remember I said it's very important to think about the SSD compatibility. If you just think, oh, I'm just gonna slap any SSD in here and then do that. Now, in essence, you might get it to work. You'll never know. You know, Cardia Z440 or something like that. You might get them working, but the thing is, you might not also. I've had the experience of looking at the same drive. The 1 terabyte version was validated by ASUSTOR, and I tried the 2 terabyte version thinking surely the 2 terabyte version is gonna work as well. But absolutely not. For some reason, there was some kind of issues and it wasn't working. So make sure that all of your SSDs are validated on ASUSTOR website. So the way you can do it is if you go to compatibility site on ASUSTOR there, and then you select FS67, which is this NAS or Flashstor kind of lineup. And then you can either select all of the brands, like see which is sorted there. You can sort them by the capacity, put NVMe if you're looking for that one, or even class, looking for enterprise or gaming ones. All I've done here is 4 terabyte, seeing which 4 terabyte ones are suggested or available here. Lexar NM790, it's a little bit more expensive than the MP440, so that's why I'm recommending the MP440. Now, if you go to Team Group and all capacities, you can see that the T-Create Classic 1 terabyte version F760 is supported. Now, will the Gen 5 drives work in there? I don't know, maybe not. 6 1 terabyte SSDs in there. We're gonna run them in RAID 5, which means we're gonna lose 1 capacity. So we're getting roughly around 5 terabytes of storage in here. All we have to do is plug in the power cord on the side here. I've got my 10 gigabit LAN that goes to the switch. We're gonna plug that one in there. And let's turn this guy on. Now, if you've never set up a ASUSTOR NAS, then I'm gonna show you this right now. It's actually a lot more simpler than you think, and there's a lot of settings that you can just kind of skip through, and I'll show you how you can make this work on Windows, and the same is on Mac. So the power and the LAN port is on. So where is that LAN port gonna go? So this port is gonna go to the switch, internet is going to the switch, and then this test bench PC that's on the side is also connected to 10 gigabit Ethernet. So they're all connected together, and I'll show you how you can set this one up. So, you just gotta press the power button. Red light comes on over here. We can hear a little fan, very quiet. Hey, let's briefly talk about today's video sponsor, LG, and their OLED TVs and why they are so special. Firstly, LG's award-winning TVs aren't just slim and sleek. The overall picture quality is second to none. OLED provides you the ultimate experience in color, screen brightness, and vibrancy. Whether in 4K or 8K, the deep blacks and the crispy colors make any content stand out on the TV, including gaming. Secondly, LG offers various different sizes, designs, and budgets to fit your environment and lifestyle. I'm gonna leave 3 of my favorites in the description below. Lastly, a lot of LG TVs have Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos support, meaning you'll get the best in class visuals and sound, and that's why you can see a lot of creators use LG OLED TVs as their main monitors. I'm only scratching the surface of what these TVs are capable of. Check out LG's TV lineup through the description below. Learn more about them and the 3 of my favorites. Thanks LG for sponsoring this part of the video. You want to download and install ASUS Control Center, and we're gonna open the ASUSTOR Control Center, and then we'll just press scan, and as you can see, it's found another one here that says uninitialized, and this is the NAS what we have here. I've got my 2 other ASUSTOR NASs already there, and they're already here, what you can see there, but we want to go with this one here. So all you do now is click on the uninitialized status. It's going to open the web browser. We're going to go here. It says ASUSTOR Data Master. Now, just leave it there. The update ADM, ASUSTOR Live Update. Just press go and it's going to update it. And then once it's ready, it kind of tells us. Okay, there we go. I have read and agreed to the blah, blah, blah. Next, appearance, choose dark. We're going to go to custom setup so I can walk you through some of these options what you have in there. Enter the same name. We're going to call this Flashstor 12 Pro. Enter the account name. So basically, this is your local cloud storage. So in order to get access to this, you're going to have to create username and password. So just choose a username and password. Just remember what the password is. So synchronize your time from that server. That's good. Press next. Network interfaces LAN 1. You don't actually have any other options. Obtain IP address automatically. That is the best option for you to go. Don't worry about anything else. So now RAID level, what you want to select there is RAID 5 if you've got 6 drives installed there. When you've got 12 installed, you might want to go with RAID 6 because then you've got 2 drive redundancy. Right now, one drive can fail out of the 6 and then I'll still keep all of my storage. So I think that's a very good option between the capacity and performance for 6 drives. So RAID 5, ext4, and then we're going to select them all. As you can see here, all of the 6. I confirm that I have understood that above. So basically what this will tell you is you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We selected all of them. You can see the size, the model, status, normal. If there's anything weird in there, it'll tell you, and then, you know, if one of them is broken, whatever. It says total capacity now is 4.64 terabytes. So check this out. If we go to RAID 6, as you can see now, when we select them all, the capacity is less because we actually have more redundancy on there. It would be nice if this data protection would actually show you like how many drives it uses as well. So if we go single, then all of the drives will be mounted like separately onto there. If we go JBOD, that will be all together the same capacity. So all the drives that are in there, it's going to be pulled together into one, just a bunch of disks. That's what JBOD means. And then the total capacity is 5.56 terabytes, slightly less than 1 terabyte per size. So a little bit less than 6 terabytes, but that's that. But like I said, we go for RAID 5. Select them all confirmed, and we're gonna go start initialization. Now this might take a long time. Usually when you have hard drives, especially, then it might take a bit longer, but with SSDs, it should go quite fast. Now register your NAS. If you haven't yet, just do that. I'm gonna press register later for now because I can't be bothered doing it. ASUS pays attention to your privacy. Okay, continue. So this is one of the things that you should do. So this is the system HTTP port and HTTPS port. As you can see that over there, the port name. Now, some people think that this is your, public IP. That is not actually the public IP. That is the IP that my router, the Wi-Fi wireless router, has set for this device. And that's the address this. So this is basically like my local street address for this device. So in the network, they know, okay, everything in ASUSTOR is on this address. But for safety, you want to change these port numbers because whenever someone tries to hack into them, they wouldn't know these port numbers and it would be just harder for you to do. So why don't you just go and do like random numbers in here, but I'll change them later. So, it'll be a little bit more safe. And we're just going to press OK. As you can see, it changed over there as well. Welcome to ASUSTOR Data Master. We're gonna say, don't ask again. Basically, what you're seeing over here is your operating system of the NAS. So your private cloud in there. And right now you still can't access it or you can't see it. It's all there, all the storage is there, but we want to kind of configure it so you can see it and access the storage, whether on a laptop or whether, on a PC or whatever. We're gonna go to Storage Manager. And as you can see here, that's where we see all of our disks. Now, what you can see is there is already one volume created, okay? And this is RAID level 5, and it's still synchronizing all of this. It's 3.24% done, and it's making the RAID, building the RAID array between the drives. So it's basically splitting all the data between 6 drives and it's building it. Because it's NVMe, it should be quite fast and should be done in no time really. If it's hard drives, it can take like sometimes a day or something like that. Now we'll let it build in there. While it's building that, what we want to do is we're going to go to access control and we're going to go to shared folders. Okay, and now what you want to do is add a folder, and what I would do is call it 5 terabytes Flashstor. Okay, so we're going to create a folder on this NAS now that can be accessed on the cloud. Now you can make as many folders as you want, and if you've got different users, you can give different access to only certain folders or whatever. But I want to just set it up right now that all of the capacity inside this device can accessed by everybody who I give access to on the network. So volume 1, that's the volume that we had there. If you split the volume, let's say you've got 6 plus 6 terabytes, you can have volume 1 and volume 2 and create different folders for different volumes, but I'm trying to keep it simple for now. Volume 1, XT4, enable network recycle bin. So what this means is when you delete files in that folder, let's say, you know, you're editing video and then you're done with that project, you just press delete, it just disappears from you're there, but it's still gonna kept in recycle bin on the network drive, because it's not gonna move, you know, all the files onto the PC's recycle bin, but it's going to create a recycle bin on the network drive. So it's a little bit safe just in case you accidentally hit delete and something disappears. It still like goes into a recycle folder or like a bin folder on the cloud or this Flashstor, and then you can delete it later if you want. I think this is a good one to do. Only accessible by administrator group users. You don't necessarily have to do that. Invisible in network or my network places if you want to make this invisible. I just press next. Read only for all users. Read and write for administration. That's very good. That's all good. Just press go. Enable encryption. I'll just skip that one. Don't need that. Finish. And now, as you can see here, we have got our 5 terabyte Flashstor folder in there. If you go to File Explorer here, you can see the Flashstor folders in there. That's the recycle bin I was telling you about. And then now you can just start putting files either. If you, for example, there's an NVIDIA driver here. If you just drag it over onto the browser, basically there, onto that folder. If this file already exists, skip or overwrite. I'm gonna say never ask again and then just skip. Just makes it simpler. And now it starts actually copying files from this computer onto the NAS here, but it might not show it yet because the RAID has not been built yet. It's only 8%. Okay, we're gonna have to wait a little longer. While it's building the RAID, let me show you another thing that I'd recommend you to do. So there's a few ways how you can map, but let me just scan this again because now you can see that our Flashstor is completely available and all good in there. There's a few ways how you can map the network drive. The fastest, easiest way is if you have the ASUSTOR control center already available. What you do is hover over connect and then press map network drive, but make sure that, you know, the NAS that you want to select has been selected. Map network drive. You're going to put in your username and password. Remember the one that you set. I would say remember password, and make sure you tick remember my credentials. Because what that means that when you turn your PC off and then log in next time, the drive will actually stay in there and doesn't ask you logins again. So if you've got a PC that you're just currently using in the same network and you're not like giving access to like a friend's PC, whatever, temporarily, that, you know, you want them to log in every single time, I'd say remember my credentials. So now on this local network, what we say is remember that folder we created that is shared now. I'm going to select that one. We can select the drive letter for this, whatever this is. I'm going to put A because it's ASUSTOR, for example. We're going to press finish. And now, as you can see, if you go this PC, select this down, you can see that there is our Flashstor is over here. Oh, it was so fast. That's what happened. Because it was only 800 megabytes. It just instantly copied over from there to there because it can transfer up to like 1000 something megabytes per second. So it literally took 1 second. That's why it transferred so fast. Here's our drive, and it now acts as just any normal drive, like a secondary SSD, like your USB stick that you plug in. It's just in there and you can log in. This // will just show that this is a network drive and it's attached to locally, you know, our IP address and so on. There is another way to map a network drive, and the way you can do this is look at this name there, the Flashstor 12-Pro. Okay, if you go up there and if you have a backslash and then type in the NAS name, so Flashstor 12-Pro. If I press enter, okay, maybe it's, let's try TN NAS 32 terabytes. As you can see, this is a different drive in there. Just press enter now. As you can see, there we go. So now it basically works exactly the same. Remember my credentials, because then it doesn't ask you to log in again or your drives won't disconnect. Press OK. And now basically, look, this is my other NAS now. I can see all of these folders here. You can see some of these are already mapped in there. But what I can do is just press right click and then I can map the network drive and it will happen exactly the same way. So all the folders that you've created, you press map network drive, select, you know, whichever one you want, K, reconnect that sign in, keep that in there, press finish, and look, it just appears on the side here, on there. But instead of the IP address, now it just tells you the NAS name that it's connected to. And if you want to remove them, all you have to do is right click, disconnect, disconnect, and it's going to be gone. It's not going to be mapped anymore. What I want to do is I want to know how fast transfer speeds can we get with this Flashstor, because it's very, very interesting. So this is the NAS folder on this side. Bear in mind, this works exactly the same with your Mac. So when you've got Mac Studio, you've got the 10 gigabit Ethernet already as standard. Mac Minis, you can get them for extra $100. Highly recommend it because it's very, very good. And what are the speeds that you can get? So as you can see, I've got 3 files selected, 15 gigabytes, 4.5 gigabytes, 4.5 gigabytes, roughly about 25 gigabytes, something like that. I'm going to drag them over to the NAS now, over the network. Let's have a look at the transfer speeds. Okay, 600 megabytes per second. Now, I believe this is actually struggling right now because the RAID is not actually built fully, and it's trying to do that at the same time while trying to write these down there, because that's not exactly like a fast speed. Now let it build the RAID and then I'll come back to you. So then on the left side here, I have the Flashstor folder on there. And then on the right side, I have my actual files and things like that. So I have large footage in here. This is one of my editing tests, 100 gigabytes. Now I'm going to drag it across onto there over the 10 gigabit Ethernet, and let's take a look. We're actually copying over 600, 700, something like that megabytes per second. Now, let's see if we pull another folder over. How's this gonna actually add up together? About the same, 400 plus 300, so around 700, 800 megabytes per second speed. And you might be thinking, well, that's not like super fast, and internal SSDs and Mac are much faster, and you can get external hard drives like that, they're much faster as well. And I'd say you're absolutely right. But what you don't have in any of these configurations, whether inside or with these external super fast drives, is redundancy. When having this one here, we're having a one drive redundancy. So even if one of these drives goes kapoof, we have all of our data in there still stored, and it is super, super quiet. It's not going to make a lot of noise, and we can access it with multiple devices. When you've got a Mac, let's say you've got a Mac Studio and a laptop as well, you can actually put on a dock and access this storage with multiple devices, which is so much better than the internal storage that you have on your Mac. And if something happens to the internal storage on your Mac, that's bye-bye your Mac, as well as all the files and everything else. Now with this one, that is a lot better. And as you can see, it keeps pretty solid speeds of copying over these files. Now, when I'm pausing the other one, we've slowed down slightly, probably because of the CPU boost clocks. As you can see earlier, the CPU, when the CPU boosts higher, like copying over or writing is a little bit CPU intensive doing that. And now it's copying over about 500 and something megabytes per second, which is still very, very fast. But now, the sequential read and write speeds aren't the ones that you actually should be measuring, or you don't use that more often. Once you load your files onto it, that's it. And if you want to load your files onto it, you can just use the USB port and you can get similar speeds or perhaps even faster, because it's not going through the 10 gigabit Ethernet interface in the back there, but roughly about that speed. What's important is the random read and write speed, because this is NVMe, which is much faster reading the files at random spaces, because when you've got your files on it, video files, documents, whatever, it's actually scattered among very large area. Imagine trying to find like a golf ball in a field or football pitch. It's going to take a lot of time, and that's what the hard drive is trying to find. Where is the golf ball? Whereas on the NVMe, it's very snappy and instantly there, because it's almost got like a upside down looking view, and it sees instantly there's the golf ball, boom, 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 pulls the files out. And that's the fast bit. So for example, if you're editing footage on it, you're not necessarily reading a lot of the files sequentially. Well, in another sense you are, because if you're playing video back or whatever. But let's say you're working with a lot of multiple different layers, or it's got all over the place, lots of little files, for example, or photos, you're editing photos and there's lots of photos all over the place, or documents or something like that, or programs, whatever you want to do, you can run all over this. You're reading the files all over the place, which is good with the NVMe's, and that's why this is awesome. And because the flash storage now is actually a lot cheaper than what it was a couple of years ago, you can pick up really fast storage for very little money. That just completed it. Let's try actually copying it over from the NAS. So now it's read speeds. Look at that. Read speeds over 1.1 gigabytes per second. That's is quite an insane speed of transfers. As you can see, it keeps it on solid. I'm super happy with it. So when you're reading files onto it, obviously it's a lot faster because it reads it across multiple drives and you don't have to write it, because when you're writing onto it, it kind of writes it all over the drives or spreads it as well, so it might be a little bit heavier. But look at that, read speeds when you're reading the files in there, that's super fast. So do I recommend this? I absolutely think this is awesome. And even though there are faster flash storage NAS devices out there, this is one of the most affordable that gives you so much capacity. To have 12 slots of NVMe there that fast, that's absolutely insane. So if you do want to pick this out and my recommended drives, I'm going to leave them linked in the description below. But also, if you want to see my long-term usage review of this, I'm going to actually set it up for myself now, and then we're going to start to use it, and I'm going to let you know my experience after long-term use. So if you're interested in that, click subscribe, like the video, it's gonna come out. Let me know what you'd like to know. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you in the comment section below. Adios.